Hi again, everybody. I'm sure we've all gone through the situation where we've had to write out a bunch of letters or address a bunch of envelopes. And we all agree that it's tedious, time-consuming, and nobody really wants to do it. Well, the good news is that in Microsoft Word, there's a function that automates this process. It's called Mail Merge. I'm Mike, and I'll show you how.
So let's get started. We're going to need two important things here. Of course, we're going to need a Word document, and we're also going to need our addresses. The easiest way to do that is with an Excel sheet. And I've already put one together for this demo. And as you see here, we have different fields already laid out. Title, first name, last name, address, city, state, postal code, and the country. And you'll see how all of these work in a bit. So let's go ahead and create our document. And you see all the templates laid out here. I have a dummy letterhead right here. So let's go ahead and do that. Let's size this down a little bit. Good. Now we want to get our addresses into this letter. So we want to go to the Mailings tab first of all. Now from here, there are two ways to do this, and I'll show you both methods. First would be using the wizard. So first thing would be to click Start Mail Merge, and then Step-by-Step Mail Merge Wizard. This is probably going to be the easiest way for you to go, but I'll show you the other method in a bit. Now the first page of the wizard shows you select document type. And you can merge letters, emails, envelopes, labels, and directory. In this case, we're going to go with letters. So all we need to do is click Next. And you then get asked, how do you want to set up your letters? You can use the current document that's on the page, which is what we're going to do. You could also start from a template that we just saw before. Or you could start from an existing document. So if you have one already written, you could do that, and it would overwrite what you see here. So as I said, let's go with Use the Current Document, and then click Next, and select Recipients. Now, of course, you have more options here. You have Use an Existing List, select from Outlook Contacts, or type a new list. And if you type a new list, you could just create it and enter it right here on the fly by typing everything in. We're not going to do that, so let's cancel out of that and go back to Use an Existing List. Now you're asked to find your source. And let's click on Browse and go to our folder where the Excel sheet lives. And you see it right there, Merge List 1 XLSX. We'll click Open, and next thing you see is Select Table. Now, the Excel sheet we used only has one tab, so that's going to be it by default. But if you have multiple tabs, then you can select the one you need here. Another important thing to look at is here, this checkbox. The first row of data contains column headers. If that's the case, like it is here in our sample sheet, then make sure that box is checked. Once you're done there, click OK. Now you see our list already laid out. And there are a number of things you could do here. You could sort, you could filter on any different field, check for duplicates, find a specific person in this list, or validate address. To validate addresses, you would need a separate add-on from Microsoft, which I don't have. But everything looks good here. You have the checkboxes where you can exclude people if needed. But let's click OK. So now we're all set here. Sheet 1 in Merge List 1. Now it's time to write your letter. And as you see here, you could put in some predetermined information. For example, the address block. We'd like to start with the address block. So let's put that in. Now you see another pop-up showing, and you could format the address block in any number of different ways. You could also deal with the postal addresses, especially if you're dealing with different countries. So in this case, let's always include the country, region, and the address. And at the bottom, format the address according to the destination, country, or region. Now on the right-hand side, you see a preview. And as you could scroll through, and you see one difference here. You see a German address, but in Germany, the postal code goes before the city, unlike in the US, for example. And that's what that checkbox is for. Everything here looks good, so click OK. The next thing we want to do is add our greeting line. So let's put that in. And you could also format here. Dear Mr. Randall, you could go with a formal or a less formal greeting. That's entirely up to you. And again, you could just navigate through to make sure everything looks good. Click OK. And now we have our greeting. You could also put electronic postage in or more items. In other words, you could put in a field anywhere you want on the letter. So let's do that. Let's put in a line saying, I had a great time meeting you in the name of the city now. Let's put the city name in. So more items. And here are the fields that you see from the data source. So let's click City and Insert. Now we're done with that, and we can click Close. Now here's a little bit of a bonus tip for you. Obviously, I don't have a letter written, but for the purposes of this demonstration, I want to dummy up some text. So if you want to test layouts or you want to put just some dummy text for the time being, what you could do is $rand, and then in parentheses, put the number of paragraphs that you want. So let's put in 3 paragraphs and hit enter. So now you have something that looks like a letter. Let's put the closing in. And we're done putting together the letter. Now let's go ahead and click Next, and we can preview. And here you have the arrows. You can go back and forth to see how they all look. Now, you see that the spacing is a little bit off, so let's go ahead and fix that. Let's highlight our addresses, go to the Home tab, and get rid of the spacing between the paragraphs. So let's do that. Put in a line break before the salutation and the greeting. And maybe take one away here. And now it looks pretty good. So let's scroll through. This looks much better. Next thing we want to do is complete the merge. And this is our last step. This is where you print the letters. You click Print. You could select the current letter to the current recipient, or you could select a range of recipients. So we could select all, click OK, select your printer, and you're done with it. Well, now that we've gotten our letters all ready to go, of course we need envelopes to send them in. So let's do that. Let's click File, New, And we'll go with a blank document. The next thing we want to do is go to the Mailings tab again. Now with the letters, we showed you the wizard method. For the envelopes, we'll show you the ribbon method. So click on Start Mail Merge and then Envelopes. You'll get the pop-up asking you which size envelope you want to use, and you see a whole array of choices. We'll stick with number 10 right now. On the other tab, you see printing options. And this has to do with which way you would feed the envelopes into your printer. Now, these are all specific to your own printer, so you'll have to look at your documentation. Let's click OK. Let's also shrink that down a little bit. First thing we want to do here is put our return address. So let's go ahead and do that. And yes, all of these addresses are fake, so don't try to stalk me. Good. Now we have our return address and we want to populate the address field here. So let's go with Start Mail Merge and select Recipients. Use an existing list. We'll go back to the same Excel sheet that we just used. And again, you see the pop-up to select the tab, the table. Click OK. And the next tab opens up here, the next button, Edit Recipient List. And once you have that, you see the pop-up where you can exclude names if necessary, sort, filter, the same as we saw before. Everything's good as is, so let's click OK. And now we want to add the address block into here. So let's go ahead and insert that field. Again, the pop-up for the layout and the formatting. You could scroll through and make sure everything looks good. And we can always include the country and region in the address for this one. Let's click OK. And now you have the address block in there. We don't need anything else from here. So let's go ahead and preview the results. And we could scroll through. If you're not happy with it, if you want to make a bigger font or make something bold, you could also do that like you normally would. So since everything looks good here, let's click Finish and Merge and Print Documents. Again, you have the choice of printing all records or specific ones. Click OK, and you could select your printer. Obviously, I'm not going to waste 10 envelopes, but you see it's a normal print dialog. Select your printer, click OK, and you're done. And that's it. That's how you make a mail merge for letters and envelopes. The process is also the same if you want to create labels, for example. Thanks again for watching.
I hope you enjoyed the video. If you did, don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe. You can also find me on Facebook and Twitter. Thanks again for watching.